Okay.
Hang on, it'll start streaming in a minute.
Okay.
I want to make sure. Then I'm gonna make you host, and I'm gonna leave.
Okay. What did you do differently than I did?
We'll go over that later. IEPPV, you more. Okay, you're host. Change host. And I'm out.
Okay. Thank you, Troy. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the May image competition from IEPPV. And we apologize for a slight delay in getting going with streaming. Streaming still continues to be the Achilles heel of this system, but we have 3 illustrious judges and 56 exciting images to view. So our judges are Dennis and Sherry Hammond, and then Carl Kaler. All of them names I'm sure that you know. Judges of a level that we are rare and fortunate to have. So we're very excited to have you guys. Judges, please say hello.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Okay, so thank you guys. And with that, we will start our first category. And the first category in the competition tonight is the children category. The first image in the children category is Paperboy. Paperboy.
I'm not getting the judging coming up.
If you move your mouse to the center, you need to have focus on that browser, and then just move your mouse or your stylus to the center and it should come up.
I am.
Okay. Try refreshing the browser, if you would.
And you need to be in the slides, not the Zoom window.
Is that working, Dennis?
No, I got something locked up on me all of a sudden here. Let me.
Okay.
Okay.
It changed before. Slide. Do you have 2 screens going or one, Dennis?
I have one for Zoom and one for viewing the images,
Yeah.
but it won't work on either.
Swap them. I had to do that too. Drag the Zoom screen over to the other monitor.
It's one's on laptop and one's on a tower.
Oh.
Separate machines.
Okay.
Yeah, the camera's on the other one to see it, but I'm hitting it and nothing is popping up on either one.
So yeah, you need to have focus on the browser on the machine that's actually showing the screens. So just click in the browser and that should then allow it to be active.
Reopen the link, right? Like,
oh, that would do it. Yeah.
Close the browser and reopen the link.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, I did. I read the link. I'm on. Okay.
Cool.
I got it, Sherry.
You got it.
Okay, final score is 76. Dennis, given that you've had some challenges, are you happy to talk about this image? Let's start with you.
Nick, it didn't update your Google sheet.
I did just refresh.
Wait a minute. When you said we have challenges, who challenged?
Nobody did.
Nobody challenged. But Dennis, if you'd like to talk about the image, that would be good, please.
So are we talking about every image?
Yes, we talk about we have one judge talk about every image, and then with a challenge, all 3 judges will talk about it, and then the challenger then gets to do a rebuttal.
Okay, well, I give this score, this image a 76. A couple of things that held me back was lack of presentation, and then the lighting, especially on the subject, and the loss of the left arm, or excuse me, the right arm on the subject, and then the toning down was on the hand versus the face. So there were some issues. There was a technical issues that kept me out.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next image in the children category is Best Friends. Best Friends.
Final score, Nick? We lose Nick?
No, I'm muted. I beg your pardon. Final score is 77. And Carl, perhaps you talk about this image, please.
Yeah, I think this is an above average image. The lighting is pretty nice on it, but it's getting the cast of the shadow just a little bit into her cheek instead of down the lip line. And then that hand that's coming forward towards us looks very, very large in comparison to her face. So maybe turning that hand just a little bit different so that it diminishes it in regards to, or in comparison to what her face is, I think it would bring more attention to your main subject.
Thank you, Carl. Okay, so the final image in the children category is Happy Times. Happy Times. Final score is 78. And Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this, I think I scored 77 in the above average category. And while this is a really cute little fellow, I'm seeing parts of his shirt that are blown out. There's some discoloration in some of his skin tones. I've got gray skin tones and super saturated skin tones. We have feet and toes all coming towards the camera, so it creates a foreshortening. So that's where I was at 77.
Thank you, Sherry. So that was the last image in the children category. We have one image for review. So with the images that score 78 and 79, judges, we ask you to type into the Zoom chat and just give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So just say yes for up or no for stays the same.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
So just type into the Zoom chat and just give me either a thumbs up for it goes up to a merit or no for stays the same. So just yes or no.
Hey, Nick, how do we get back to see our chat areas? I don't see that.
That will be, you should see a little chat balloon at the bottom of the Zoom window. If you click on that, that will pull up the chat.
I don't see the Zoom window anymore. I just see us.
You may need to switch around to the other window. You're on a second screen, right?
I go to a second screen.
No, I'm on the second screen. I have a second screen on too. Oh, wait. View options. No. Oh, got it. I see it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No, I got to bring it over here. Seriously. Wow. Yeah, hold on a minute.
Okay. Uh-oh. Did you lose your stylus there, Carl?
No, it won't. There we go. Now I can get to it.
Okay, there we go. Cool.
Chat. All right. So in here, we're just saying.
Yes, if you want to
no.
no, stays the
Got
same.
it.
Okay. Image stays the same. Thank you. The next category is commercial. And we have a single image in commercial called The Leap. The Leap. Image score 77. Dennis, we're back with you.
Okay, well, I scored this a 78, and I really like the image, except there's a few things that held me back is when I look at the coloration of the hands, the difference from some of the body bits. The shoes were blown out, and then we got this line of the floor and the wall going across this dissecting the image, and so that really helped me out.
Thank you very much. Okay. Our next category is digital artistry. And in the digital artistry category, we're looking at as much at the work done after the image capture to create the final image as with the original Photoshop, the original photograph. So It's very much focused on the total picture, but specifically on the digital work, as well as obviously just overall image presentation. First image is the hero. The hero.
Just waiting on Carl.
Okay.
Oh, it's all in.
Oh, Dennis, the score. Yeah.
Dennis, yeah.
I hit submit.
Oh, you did?
Okay, I'll come back and do it again.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, man.
Okay, final score is 79. Carl, this one's yours.
Okay, I think this is a really nice finished piece. I was at, I think, 78-ish because it is the art category, and the work from the green screen to the separation to the blending isn't that difficult to do. I think it was done well for the most part. But the other thing, in my opinion, this is a football player, tough and rough, and the artwork done on the face really smoothed that face out a lot. And I just think that he should have more rough and toughness to him as a football player.
Thank you, Carl. Next image in the digital artist category is Carissa. Carissa. Sorry, I'll try. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
I apologize for that. Score is 78. Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this a 78 in the above average category, and I really enjoy her face. The treatment where we have the background blending into her gown, it just needs a little bit of refinement. It's a little bit abrupt. And on that right side, we've got a little bit of that background kind of getting into her hair a little bit down at the bottom of her long hair and kind of muddying that area up a little bit. So 78.
Thank you very much. Next image in the digital artistry category is Madeline. Madeline. Score is 81. Dennis, we're back to you.
Yeah, I merited this and put an 81 on. I enjoyed the image, and it had the reminiscence of artistic, Renaissance piece. I liked the lighting and the pose on it, so that's where I landed.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next image, still with digital artistry, is Blue Spiral. Blue Spiral. Score is 79. Carl, this one's with you.
Yeah, I think this is a really cool finished piece as well. Nice graphic design. But as far as the artistry is concerned, I was at 76 with my score above average. And the reason being is it just looks like step and repeat type of situation going on here. But my worry was the glow of the outline of everything. If you go all the way to the top of the image, that very first spike on the back top right, there's no glow. And then it starts glowing and it gets hotter glow and diminishes. It just doesn't seem consistent, and it was bothersome to me for the finished piece.
Thank you very much. Okay, the final image in the digital artistry category is Chafee. Chafee. Score is 75. Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this a 76 in the above average category. And while I love the concept and the idea, there's just some few problems in execution that I see. Just some of these are very harshly lit. Some of them are flatly lit. Some of the skin tones are very desaturated. Some of them are super saturated. So it's just a consistency thing for me at 76.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have 3 images for review in the category. Give me 1 second while I step back to them. The first one is the hero. If you could give me a thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat, that would be great. So I'll make that go away. There we go. Becomes a merit. Okay, thank you. And the next one for review is Carissa, original score 78. Remains the same. And then the final image for review in this category is Blue Spiral, original score 79. Remains the same. Okay, our next category is, whoops, beg your pardon, is the illustrative category. This is kind of the catch-all category for things that don't fit in other categories. So typically photographed on, focus on the photography more than the digital artistry, but overall image matters. First image in this is carefully cultivated. Carefully cultivated. Dennis, you got to lead on this one, please.
Did you give the score?
Oh, no, I didn't. I beg your pardon. Score is 80 points. Thank you, Dennis.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I give it an 87, so I probably carried it. I guess I was enthralled by the line, the tone, the texture, and the general flower with the beautiful pistils and stamens coming there, and then the design layout. So I put an 87 on it.
Nick, actually, I'll challenge this.
Sure.
I was at 76, I believe, just on the other end of things. And I think I do enjoy the flow of it and the initial impact, but I'm having some sharpening issues, some petals on the right and other parts of the petals on the top. but then I'm getting like a flat, mushy type of feeling in some of the petals on the far left, right in the middle of them. And I just can't explain that. And as well as in the background, some of it has like a Halloween feel to the presentation, and then it gets nice in other parts of it. So I'm just having a technical difficulty situation on this image.
Okay. Sherry, do you want to comment on that?
Absolutely. I scored this as 77 in the above average category. And while I love the flower itself, that they're beautiful, some of the same reasons of Carl. In addition, I'm seeing a lot of banding, and especially in the mat. And then also down at the bottom where that one little piece of that bud dips below the key line. If you look to the left of that bud, the key line just kind of disappears, and then it's offset with the rest of them. So just a few little technical difficulties for me.
Dennis?
Well, I appreciate everybody bringing those to my attention, and I appreciate it. I'm going to lower my score. So thank you.
No rebuttal.
Okay, Calvin, rebuttal?
No rebuttal.
Okay, so if you would just refresh your browsers and then rescore, and this time if you would hit the challenge button, please.
Everybody?
Everybody, yes, please.
Okay.
And the final score is 77. Thank you, Carl. Okay, next image in the illustrative category, complementary opposites. Complementary opposites. Score is 76 points. Carl, this one's yours.
Well, it's vibrant, that's for sure. I think the choice of colors is very bold. Definitely stands out with the orange and blue, but it also is a concern because it shows some of that blue kind of light on the petals on the foreground flower, and it takes away, it gives us the illusion that the exposure wasn't really nice because we're seeing that coolness in that area there. I'm seeing a lot of banding on this too, in the background and into the mat as well. So be aware of that. And then I'd like to see these flowers have some kind of foundation, some kind of stem, something to hold it up. It just seems like they're floating out of this screen into the presentation without a foundation.
Thank you, Carl. Next image in the illustrative category is aging gracefully. Aging gracefully. Score is 82 points. Sherry, this one is with you.
I scored this in 82. Very lovely image with the wilting flowers here. Very lovely title. Love the movement of the green leaves and the curve of that one flower that's kind of bending over. And the petals in that top flower are kind of mimicking the movement of the leaves. Just lovely image, 82.
Thank you very much. Sticking with illustrative, entwined intervention. Entwined intervention. Score is 82 points. Dennis, this is with you.
Well, I scored this in 85, and I thought by, you go by the impact, that certainly had the impact, and they used the lines effectively from all the corners to bring your attention into the center of the image with those eyes or the face or whatever you want to build into that image. So I'm not on 85.
Thank you very much. Sticking with illustrative, the next image is uniformitarianism. Uniformitarianism. Score is 74 points. Carl, this one's yours.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely collection of textures, but I feel that lighting it differently would make those textures show up a little bit more, give them the shape and form as well as textures. And we're not settling in on some of the beautiful parts of this because the background seems a little bit cluttered. Maybe simplify that a little bit. And then the artwork down on the bottom, it looks like there's some cloning tracks. There's a lot of repetition of stones in the bottom right corner as well as the bottom left. So some technical things that cut this back as well.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Next image in the illustrative category is Art of Corona. Art of Corona. Score is 85. Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this at 81 inside the merit category, and love the colors, love the movement and the swirls. Just cool piece.
Thank you very much. Okay, next image in the illustrative category is Dancing Daffodils. Dancing Daffodils. Final score 79. And Dennis, we're back with you, please.
I was an 80. I put in a merit on this, and I enjoy the soft tones and texture of this, and where some these daffodils are usually presented as a yellow flower and things, and somebody's done a bold move in presenting this with the translucent petals and seeing the light through them and the interesting design. So I land on 80.
Thank you very much. Next image, still with illustrative, is social distancing. Social distancing. Final score is 80. Carl, tell us about this image.
This is such a cool image. Title or not, or the story that we're in or not, it just has a kind of a mystery to it, but in a way that has a very artistic twist to it. I like cutting off the arm midstream. It gives some tension there where this person is looking, and it adds to the mystery of having his face covered as well. I think the palette was handled very well, and the presentation is very nice piece.
Thank you. Next image, still with illustrative. Muisca's Craft. Muisca's Craft. Muisca's Craft, I beg your pardon. Final score 76. Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this 76 in the above average category, and I'm sure this will be a nice marketing piece. for someone's craft here. There's just some difficulties that I'm seeing. There's some super bright hot spots, especially under the bench. That area is the brightest part in the whole image, and I just keep getting pulled away. So 76.
Thank you very much. And the final image in the illustrative category, Sandhill Dancer. Sandhill Dancer.
I'm having problems getting my screen back here, so let me a second refresh here or something here.
Okay, just refresh your browser.
Got it back.
Did you manage to get that back, Dennis?
I got it.
You got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
final score is 84. And Dennis, this one is yours to talk about.
Okay, well, I'm glad you did because I would have challenged it if it got lower. I was an 87, and I just love the artistic approach, the use of the palettes, how they've used the brushes, the masking, the bird, the subtle tones matching all the colors there. 87.
Is
Okay,
this a
thank
challenge
you.
then?
This is a challenge, yes. Carl, do you want to talk about it, please?
Okay, sure.
Well,
It's
I
my
didn't
turn.
challenge. I said I would have challenged.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought you did challenge. I misheard.
No, I said
I'll
I
challenge
wouldn't.
it.
Okay. My mistake. Okay, so that wraps up the...
Wait, Sherry
Wait,
challenged.
Sherry's challenging it.
Ooh, that was loud.
Okay, show the score. Go for it, Sherry.
I was going to challenge it if no one else did. I scored this a 78, and while I do love the design and the composition, I felt that the watercolor type background behind the bird was a distraction for me. It took me a second to find the bird in this background because it's so lots of lines of contrast that are drawing my eye away from the bird. For me, if this were a little bit of a softer treatment on the background, the bird would pop out much more. But as this sits for me right here, that background is more of a distraction for me. So that's where I'm at 78.
Okay, Carl, tell us about the image.
Yeah, I was at 86 and I enjoyed it thoroughly. But I was just the opposite of the challenger in that the artwork, the watercolor to me, I love the step like step back or approach that they use to it. It kind of gives us a feeling of motion and drawing us back and forth. And to me, it ties together with the title of dance. And so the watercolor to me, even though it had us looking at it and looking back at the bird and looking back at the background, it was a sense of the motion, the dance to me that it kind of harmonized well with it.
Thank you. Dennis, your response to the
Well,
challenge.
I appreciate the challenge where it's coming, but I guess we look at this as an illustrative, as an art piece, not as like a Sand Hill out just dancing. But as you look at the art piece, the background is mirroring the bird. You got the beak, you got the feathers going up, down the leg, you got a flow on the leg. But I look at the golden part across the bottom like the bird dancing and kicking up dust or water, wherever, and it's showing motion. And so that's where I was at 87, and maybe we're even a little low, but that's where I'm going to land at.
Thank you, Dennis. And Sherry, in rebuttal.
In rebuttal, thank you everyone for your comments. For me, the background is just really keeping me from enjoying this bird because it keeps pulling my eye. But I will raise my score to the middle of the merit category.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you would refresh your browsers and rescore, please, with the challenge. Thank you. Final score is 85 points. Thank you very much. Okay, that wraps up the illustrative category, and we have one image for review, which is Dancing with Daffodils. Give me 1 second. I will pull that back up for you. Dancing with Daffodils. Again, if you would just give me a yes or no in the chat, please, for come on. So I'll get it to go away eventually. There we go. Okay, this becomes a merit. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, our next category is the landscape category. And take a button, give me 1 second. The first image in the landscape category is reflections. Reflections. Score is 79. Sherry, would you talk to this image, please?
I scored this image an 80 in the merit category, and there's some really nice things going on in this image. Really soft and kind of ethereal feeling. It's where I'm at 80.
Thank you very much. Okay, next image in the landscape category is social isolation. Social isolation. Score is 78 points. Dennis, talk to me about this image.
I scored an 80, and I just enjoyed the subtle tones, the blues, the lines. But as I'm sitting here, I may have to challenge myself and look at it because I'm seeing a lot of banding in the sky. So I may. Can we ask for a rescore, or just challenge it, or ask for a rescore on this?
We can do a rescore.
Okay, can we do a rescore on this, please?
By all means.
Do we need to refresh?
Just refresh your browser.
Yeah.
And then just put it in as your original score, not as a challenge.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a revised score of 77 points.
Do you want me to still talk about it?
Sure. Yeah, please do.
Okay, initially I love the tones, the blues, it's really a peaceful feeling. But then when I looked up in the sky with all that horizontal banding, that really kind of killed it for me. So, I love the total look of it, but it's just that technical challenge kept me down now.
I understand. Thank you very much. Okay, next image in the landscape category, Milky Way over the pinnacles. Milky Way over the pinnacles. Score is 79 points. Carl, this one's yours.
I think this is a good job of finding a location to use as a base to this sky scene. But personally, I think I was at 77 or 78, somewhere in there. But I
You're at
think
77.
it just 77. Thank you. It just seems a little bit weak as far as the exposure. I mean, it just seems muddy. Where I'd like to see a little more pop, a little more contrast, a little more vibrance to this. Maybe just a little bit different timing would have done that, I guess, maybe. But I'm just feel lacking as far as the punch to this.
Thank you very much. Okay, Next image, still with landscape, is rice trails. Rice trails. Score is 86. Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this image an 87 in the excellent category. And this is such a beautiful image. Beautiful composition, beautiful lines and curves. And it almost kind of reminds me of looking at the veins in a leaf and in that little cross section of the palms or the palmettos going right through this. Just a beautiful composition.
Can we ask for a rescore on this?
Sure.
Wouldn't that be a challenge?
Okay, if you want,
I think he needs to challenge it.
Okay,
Is
I'll
it?
challenge it.
Okay.
Let's just challenge and rescore.
Yep.
Well, if you want to challenge it, then we need everyone to talk about it as well. So, Dennis, why don't you tell us your challenge?
Well, I was an 82, and I was a little timid. I liked it, and initially, I thought maybe it was too crunchy, and they'd use that technique to do that. But then, as I look, seeing that technique has been used effectively to carry the whole process through the artistic design.
Hey, Carl?
Yeah, I was at 88 originally, and actually, let's go a step further. I'm going to challenge it up another level. I'm going to probably move towards the 90, 91 range, depending on what our challenger says here. But I feel that this is a great graphical piece. It's got texture. It's got a great palette. There's just another level of photographic landscape that we're seeing here. And a lot of people can get different stories. They're all very nice.
Sherry?
Well, ditto from what I said before. And the more this sits here, the more I love it. So I have no problem going to 90.
So we have two challenges currently. So Dennis, you get to rebut, and then Carl, you get to rebuttal as well, just for completeness.
Oh, okay. Well, I was a little timid when I said this because I was kind of holding myself back because the lack of presentation I couldn't see here. It was hard to see on the black screen. But I love the lines, the tones, and as I'm sitting here, I'm enjoying it more. So I'll probably be going up and then listen to the next challenge as well.
And Carl in rebuttal as well.
92, let's score it.
Okay, let's score this then. Everybody, remember to click the challenge button. Thank you, guys. Final score is 92 points. Good challenge. Challenges. Thank you, guys. I think that's the first that we've had two challenges on the same image within the same moment. But next image in the landscape category, the edge of shadow and light. The edge of shadow and light. Final score is 82 points. Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this, I can't remember when I scored it,
83.
83.
Very nice image. Love the zigzag line movement here, and the placement of the balloons makes for some nice composition at the top of those dunes. 83.
Thank you very much. Okay, the one but last image in the landscape category is the valley. The valley.
No, there's one more after that, Nick.
I said it's the one but last.
Oh, okay.
Nick, you talk funny.
Well, I'm English. What can I say? I think we all speak English, don't we?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, what was the title for this again?
The valley. Score is 82 points. Dennis, let's hear your comments.
Well, this a beautiful image from this particular standpoint here in this area, and I think they've done a nice job of creating some not lines, tones, the foreground, the background, and there's a few things that maybe wasn't the optimum time of day. There's some other things that could be that's rather flat with the lighting, but I still enjoy the tone, the design.
Thank you, sir. And then the final image in the landscape category is Battery Point Lighthouse. Battery Point Lighthouse. Final score is 78 points. Carl, let's hear from you.
Well, I enjoy the composition of this. The lighthouse is in a nice, powerful place. The horizon line looks nice, and so there's some really good things about this. But some technical things. Number one, I think to be more impactful, a different time of day, so it gives it more of a story, more glamour. It's a lighthouse that's supposed to be protecting from storms and stuff, and it just seems kind of not as impactful on a bright sunny day. Also technical thought, just my opinion, but it just feels like the depth of field is lacking here a little bit. We have some softness in the foreground that it seems like everything should be sharp or at least just a little bit more than it is in front right now.
Thank you, Carl. Okay, the next, before we get on to the next category, we do have three images for review in the landscape category. The first one for review is Reflections. Reflections. Original score 79. I apologize for that. Okay, there we go. Image remains the same. And the next one for review is Milky Way over the Pinnacles. Original score 79. Remains the same. And then the final image for review in the landscape category is Battery Point Lighthouse. Original score 78. Sorry about that. Image remains the same. Okay, moving on to the nature category. First image in the nature category is sunbathing. Sunbathing. Image scores 75 points. Dennis, why don't you start this category?
Well, thank you. Beautiful capture of this butterfly, but as I look at, there's a few things that held me back. Number one, we got the out of focus flowers to the foreground, and then the depth of field where the butterfly's head and antennas are out, and then that bright blue expanse of sky is just as overpowering.
Okay, thank you. Next image in the nature category, lovable. Lovable. $77 points. Carl, this one's yours.
Yeah, I think that the texture in the white petals are really kind of cool, and I love the orange sticking out there, and it's placed in a nice, powerful place. A couple technical things. Number one, on the mat on the right side, I see almost like a hair coming across or a scratch across it, and a third of the way down. But then the rest of the flower almost has the illusion of being cut out and pasted in here. That one leaf just doesn't seem to have the same kind of exposure value that everything else in the background does. And then when you look in between that kind of bluish cast leaf and the stems and the center petals, there's different things and different textures that don't match the background.
Thank you, Carl. Next image in the nature category, a peaceful path. A peaceful path. $76 points. Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this a 76 in the above average category, and it looks like a lovely place. I'd love to take a walk down. There's just a few things that are holding me back from going any higher. This first tree on our left as we go down the path appears to be out of focus. And then there looks like a little bit of sun flare that's coming in from that side where the sun is streaming through. And then at the top, we've got those little light traps at the top where that bright sky is coming through the trees. And then the right side kind of has a cool feel instead of the warm sun that we have everywhere else. So it's kind of a little bit of an inconsistency in color balance. So that's where I'm at 76.
Thank you very much. Next image in the nature category, bringing home building materials. Bringing home building materials. $78 points. Dennis, this one's yours.
I enjoyed this image. I give it an 82. I give it to the side of the merit of the maker. The thing that held me back was, it was so cell-entered, and there was almost dissected image by the way it was centered, and so that was the presentation was not outstanding. So those held me back.
Thank you very much. Next image, still in the nature category, reflection from the sea, and that's written as a letter C. So reflection from the sea. Come on. There we go. $77 points. Carl, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I think this is a fun timed image. Maker is there at just the right time to capture this bird just above the surface, and it's kind of cool. A good composition as far as a place for it to fly to, but it just seems very noisy or grainy in the background on the water itself. It has a color shift to the noise itself as well. See a little bit of banding on the left corner. And then the white line around the wings on the underside of the bird itself, but it doesn't match on the reflection. And it just kind of was a red flag in my mind.
Thank you, Carl. Next image, skimming the water. Skimming the water. 79 points. Sherry, this one's yours.
I scored this, I think I scored it in, what did I score?
You scored at 80.
An 80. I scored this image in 80, and what I loved about it was the color balance, and I also love that really cool strip of blue that's kind of going right through the middle, right where the bird's wings are touching. It just adds a nice little bit of contrast and color right there. I did not go any higher because of a few little technical things. It looks like that little area right behind the beak and the head is blown out, and there's a blown out highlight on the leg right at the feet. But this is a nice image.
Thank you very much. Okay, next image in the nature category, catch of the day. Catch of the day. Final score is 83 points. And Dennis, we're back with you.
Well, I put this in the merit category. I enjoyed the image. I mean, the maker was able to find this great shot and be able to capture. And this is skillful and lucky. So I like the toenails. I think it was a little flat, but maybe it looks like it's had some texture issues. Excuse me, some sharpening that they try to do on to catch it up. But otherwise, I put the merit.
Thank you very much. And then the final image in the nature category is the hunter. The hunter. Image scores 81 points. Carl, can you close out this one, please?
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic capture of a hunter, this predator. I did score a 77 or 78 though. And the reason is we have such good color palette between the bird and the background. And then we have just a touch enough light to give us shape and form on the face of this. But a big part of this story, a big part of this bird is how it hunts, and the talons, the feet, the claws are just dead. I wish there was a little bit more dimension to them if the lighting got to them a little bit better, or if we even helped it out and painted it in somehow. It just, that part of the story is lacking in my opinion.
Thank you, Carl. So before we move on, we have 2 images for review in the nature category. First one is bringing home building materials. Bringing home building materials. Original score 78. Sorry. There we go. Image remains the same. And then the final image for review in this category is skimming the water, and that was original score 79. Image becomes a merit. Okay, thank you very much. At this point, we get to give our judges a brief break to go and relax, stretch, do whatever needs to be done. And we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Is 10 minutes good for you guys?
Yeah.
10's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in that case, we will resume at 7:49 California time. Adjust for your time zone, if you would be so kind.
Everything going okay, Nick?
Oh, sorry, I'm on mute. Yeah, this is good. No, thank you, Carl.
Okay, very good. I'll be back.
Cool. Okay.
streaming paused? Oh, it's still
I don't know how to do that actually. I'm not
okay.
sure you
That's
can.
that's all right. That's all right.
Given the challenges we had getting it going, I'm reluctant to turn it off.
I'm fine with that. We're good.
I'm just going to get rid of the mic.
Scorekeepers, save your scores.
Are we all comfy now, Dennis?
I don't think he has his headphones on yet.
No, not yet.
There
There
you
he
go.
goes. Dennis, are we all comfy now?
Oh, I am now. Got my chocolate chip cookie and good. I'm good.
I heard of those things before.
Well, I'm the baker in the house. If I want them, I make them.
Oh, there you go. I don't get into chocolate. I don't like chocolate. I never have, but my
How
wife
can you
bakes
not
them.
like chocolate?
Grandpa always said I was weird. I didn't like hot dogs or chocolate. Now I can handle hot dogs, but just chocolate is never my thing, I guess.
Well, I'm with you on the hot dogs. I can't stand them.
Well, no, venison hot dogs, and that's a whole different animal. But
Well, yeah,
well, quite frankly, actually, yeah. But
Literally.
that I could do.
literally, yeah. I don't eat that other stuff. Ugh. But so, what's the moisture level like out by you folks?
Raining out there right now.
Water level is up though, or no?
Yeah, it's high. The river's high. We walked the river. We photographed some ospreys, watched them, and it's clear up over the bank in some areas, and the river's running really high.
Okay, so the reservoir should be good this year, over down by
Yeah.
where we are.
It's been good the last several years.
Yeah, it has.
So
Compared to
yeah,
a few
stay
years,
that way. Yeah, there was a few years ago. It was
it was
Lots of
ridiculous. Yeah. So
Are you anywhere near any of those dam breaks?
no, we're probably 7 hours from there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and we're Upper Peninsula, so I mean it takes me 4 hours just to get to the bridge to go over to Lower Michigan. And then to get to where that is, it's probably closer to 8 hours from here to get to where they are over there. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's a long way. You can't get there from here. You got to go somewhere else first. And then over.
You're in the middle of nowhere.
Well,
Yeah.
we're not as bad as you, but it can get kind of interesting get to places from here.
Yeah, I noticed that.
You've been here, you know.
I'm still thinking there's got to be a back road to get from where we are to where you are at Idaho Falls.
Well, there is. It's called the Bone Road. You go up around the park, around the bomb, but trust me,
It's slow going.
you're faster
Right.
going up on 20 and back in.
It's dirt. It's
Okay.
bumpy dirt road.
Well, but that's what I'm wondering, because we're already 45, almost an hour in on that road anyway, from the highway. So I'm like, it can't be that much farther past where we are to get to actual road again, to get to zoom over.
Here around do things. Did you guys draw again this year?
I'm in the same unit I was last year. We didn't get the unit we wanted. Nobody got the unit we wanted this year. And we were on at midnight. I was like hitting the button, go, 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 go. And none of us got through. It took me 2.5 hours, but that unit sold out in less than a minute.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gotten ridiculous. I am guessing that next year, or the year after, for sure, it's going to go to a draw for that unit.
Yeah, they're talking about that already through the news, and we hear about that for the out of state and everything.
And that's okay. I mean, I know my brother likes it over on the other side better from where we go in, because it's an easier walk in. There's no question about it. But it's a 2-hour walk to get from, it's about a 25-minute drive from our camp to where the trailhead where we walk in, and then it's a 2-hour walk every morning to get to where we start hunting.
Well, I look at a 2-hour drag. That's literally a long drag back.
It is a long way back, but that's the benefit or the beauty of the other area. You're almost in elk country in the first 20 minutes, half hour, from the truck. So that part was nice. This part, it's not a bad walk. It's just you got to go across the Serengeti Desert just to get to the valley area.
I've been up there. I know.
Yeah. But
Well, I stepped in late to this conversation. Is this bow or rifle that you're doing?
bow.
Okay. Do you
Always
exclusively
bow.
hunt with a bow?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, do I rifle hunt up here for deer? Yeah, but it's only to be with family. I could
Got it.
care less. Most of the time I'll have everything will be filled up with a bow before gun season starts. So I really don't care. So
We already got the little white tails up there.
yeah, those little things.
Now, compared to our muleys, there's little.
They are. Man, I'll tell you what, the last 2 years we didn't get tags from muleys, and I wasn't upset about it, but there's been a few years that I was like, "Whoo, man! I really wish I would have. I really wish I would have drawn a." Because
We're taking some
ran into some big
almost
ones.
B and C records out of that area in mules.
Oh yeah, we've seen a couple. In fact, one I saw the rack. It was down in the river bottom, and I could see antler, and I thought it was an elk. We stalked over the top, and I was like drawing, come over the top, and I'm like, oh crap, it's a mule deer. But I mean, it was massive, very massive, beautiful. I mean,
Gentlemen, I hate to interrupt this conversation because it's fascinating. Is Sherry back?
we got to go.
I'm here.
What's that?
Okay, cool. Well, it's 7:49. Let's
roll.
resume, and we're back on with the next category, which is pets. And the first image in the pets category, in fact, the sole image in the pet category is free time. Free time. Unmute myself. Image score 75. Sherry, take us away in the pets category.
I scored this a 76 in the above average category. And while the cat itself is beautiful, there's some technical issues. If you look at the bottom of the image and halfway between the bottom and the cat's front paws, there's a line of demarcation from sharp to not sharp. And that's just in a little bit on the left above that, and then down the right side as well. So something's just not it's not quite gelling for me. So that's where I'm at 76.
Thank you very much. Okay, our next category is the photojournalism category. And the first image in photo category in the photojournalism is Cub Scouts. Cub Scouts. Score is 78 points. Dennis, we're back with you.
Well, I enjoy this image. Coming from a scouting background, I really enjoy this, and I love all those guys. You know, their is peeking over, but you know, it's even though we got to distract the emotion from these when you do the PJ style, and you know, we got to look at still the content, the emotional impact, and how it works. And although the faces are cute, it just doesn't carry through for in the merit category.
Thank you very much. Okay, next image in the photojournalism category, old traditions. Old traditions. Image scores 80 points. Carl, tell us about this image.
Yeah, I was at 82 in the photojournalism category here. I think that the maker did a good job creating the story without getting too graphic. The composition was handled very well. It's got a story as far as everybody is watching what's going on. It's captivating in that standpoint. So I feel it was well handled as far as the situation.
Thank you, Carl.
I'm sorry, it froze up just as you. What was the score on this?
Score was 80 points.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the final image in the photojournalism category, My Baptism. My Baptism. Image scores 78 points. Sherry, talk to me about this image.
I scored this as 79, just on the edge. What held it back for me was a couple of blown out areas in the gown and the specular highlights of the metallic object behind the mom. And then for well, it's not posing, but how mom's holding the baby with the arm coming out, with the hand coming out of nowhere. Just a couple of little things that held me out of the merit category.
Thank you, Sherry. We have two images for review in the photojournalism category. First image for review is Cub Scouts, original score 79. Image remains the same, and then the other image for review in the photojournalism category is My Baptism, original score 78. Image remains the same. Okay, the next category is the portrait category. In this category, we assume that the maker has complete control over lighting, posing, and so on. First image in the portrait category is well-lived life, well-lived life. Image scores 80 points. Dennis, talk to me.
I was an 81 on merit category. I enjoy this image. I mean, great impactful subject. I had some challenges with the way that they process this because of the vignetting around and they darken the outside edges. I understand to bring your attention to the subject. Excuse me. But the bright light, the bright burning from behind the subject is distracting. And then when the burning went into the hands and the arms of the gentleman, that was keeping me out of a higher subject. Score me.
Thank you, Dennis. Next image in the portrait category is a Persian princess. A Persian princess. Image scores 77 points. Carl, can you talk about
Yeah,
this?
it's a captivating type of portrait here, especially drawing to her eyes. I think that the shawl is handled well and color coordinated to the actual subject, which I think is nice. In contrast to that, though, I have some technical things. One, we're cutting off the hands in areas that are uncomfortable, which is drawing attention, not only because of the cropping, but also the depth of field and that they're going out of focus, and it's drawing us to them. But then we're seeing like a focus issue from very sharp in her hair to very, very, very soft on the top left side of her head. And it's kind of confusing there. It doesn't seem like it follows the same focal plane. And then in lighting, the main light, we can see the catch lights in the right side of the eye, which is in a good place, yet the left side of the face is brighter than the right. And it seems like there's this overfill here and didn't give us the amount of shape and form that it could have been more powerful for this image.
Thank you, Carl. Next image in the portrait category, young wisdom. Young wisdom.
Nick, I'm going to rescore that.
Sure, just refresh your browser and re-enter your score.
Yep.
Thank you. Final score is 78 points. Sherry, if you would talk to that, please.
I scored this 78 in the above average category. And while I love the little boy and the intensity on his face and the story that this tells, his eyes, which to me are where the wisdom is, and his eyes, at least for me, look to be out of focus. So that's where I'm at 78.
Thank you very much. Next image still in the portrait. There. Next image still in the portrait category is regal. Regal. Image scores 85 points, and we have an automatic challenge, but looks like Carl's challenging anyway. So Carl, tell us about the challenge.
I'm at 95 on this image. I find this extremely powerful, impactful, captivating storytelling, technically wonderful, well lit. I love the composition of him looking off, but in a short distance from the finished piece to help grab some of that tension that we can see in his expression. I think the maker did a fantastic job with exposure. We're seeing perfect detail in all that textures of that headpiece, as well as the seashell necklace and all the shiny skin. The highlights and shadows are remarkably textured and remarkably detailed, whiskers and all. So I'm at 95. I'd love to talk about this image.
Okay, Sherry.
Okay.
I score this an 80 in the merit category. And while I love the power that's in this gentleman, in his gaze and in his pose, and I love all the tones of the black and white, what held me from going higher was his viewer's left shoulder is brighter than his face, and I just keep getting drawn to that shoulder and can't get away from it. And then the rest of his body, if it were toned down a little bit, I would definitely be higher score. But as I'm looking at this right now, 80. Looking forward to rebuttal.
And Dennis.
Oh, I was this 81, and I still thought it was a merit, but unlike Carl, I thought the image was too centered, and with the head in the center of the image and looking off, it didn't leave any rooming space for the eyes to go anywhere off. And so for me, it didn't carry forward or with the vision of that. It was a great subject. We got some nice tones there, but just those few things that held me back.
And Colin, rebuttal.
Sure. Yeah, and rebuttal. I appreciate the comments, and to me, I like the balance between the gentleman's face and the story therein, along with in the left corner his shoulder, and showing strength and power. And the maker gave us a very controlled, lighted situation that allowed us to see that. And to me, it's worth rewarding. Maybe I was a little overzealous at 95. I'll lower my score to 90 in lieu of the comments have already been made.
Okay, judges, if you would be so kind as to rescore, refresh your browsers, and rescore as a challenge. Final score is 87 points. Thank you very much. Okay. Next image in the portrait category is dedication. Dedication.
Waiting on
Are
two
we back
scores.
on?
Yeah, we're still waiting.
Back,
We're
Sherry.
back.
We got
Well,
a little bleep.
Yeah, we
okay.
lost everything.
Well,
Well, I saw lightning strike out across the window, Sherry, and that's probably what happened.
Oh, great.
Don't say that.
Okay, I need the link back to get back to the images. Is it still
Sherry,
in
just go into
chat?
your chat.
Go up
It's
to that.
still in
And
chat.
scroll up.
All the way to the top, Sherry.
Should be in the chat.
Oh,
My
mine's
chat,
clear.
everything's chat is
Everything-
gone.
Everything on my chat's cleared as well.
Okay.
I'll put
so
that link
we
back
have-
in the chat. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, we've got some storms coming, and our power is notoriously bad when storms
Okay.
come through. So
I
we
just
may
sent you a
lose-
link, which will take you right to where we are.
Okay. It's not a link, so I have to copy and paste.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
How do I get out of this?
One word, Generac.
Yeah, where's
Yeah.
just hard to be powerful enough.
Okay. Okay, I am back. Did our scores get recorded before we lost it?
No.
No.
Okay.
I see Dennis's score. I did not see yours yet, Sherry.
Okay, I put my. Okay, you got mine, right?
Yeah, we got
Yes,
yours.
Okay.
We got yours.
Okay. Yeah, I was in the middle of doing it. I just didn't know if it went through.
No, I understand.
No, it's like a dead silence. I'm going thinking, oh wow, what happened?
And there we were, gone.
Final score is 77. Sherry, now that you're back, if you'd be so kind as to talk to this image, that would be great.
I scored this as 79, and the colors in this are beautiful and rich. And I love the story, especially with the title. There's a couple of things that held me from going back into the merit category. There's no separation between him and the background, so there's a lot of parts of him that we're missing. And then we're cropped right into the elbow, which is an uncomfortable spot. And then right into that big chunky bracelet, and being that's a strong element down there. That's kind of a distraction, pulling my eye away. And the profile isn't quite a profile. We're showing a little snippet of that eyeball, so it's kind of a profile that isn't a profile, which is a distraction for me as well. So that's where I'm at 79.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. And I hope that you guys are still safe. Next image in the portrait category, Serenity Amidst Disorder. Serenity Amidst Disorder. Image scores 77 points. Dennis, let's hear from you.
Well, it's a 78, and it's an interesting title for this because I'm seeing a lot of chaos in the image, even with the background, the presentation, everything else. And then the girl, the title Serenity, but they're using a very diagonal strength in the legs they're showing, which is, movement and strength, and so the correlation of the composition and the posing doesn't go with the title. And then the overlit foreground is and with the feet being over bright, and then the hand coming out of nowhere on the foot is a little challenge. So that's why I didn't put it in the merit category.
Thank you very much. Next image in the portrait category, A Portrait of My Father. A Portrait of My Father. Image scores 86 points.
Challenge.
Okay, we have a challenge from Dennis. Go for it, Dennis.
Well, I'm a 95, maybe I'm looking at things a little differently.
But I'm seeing this beautiful portrait of this gentleman. Things are sharp, they need to be sharp. We got that interesting that cane coming up, they rest on it, creates a strength, a diagonal, vertical line. We got some beautiful lighting on his face with the separation coming across there. I think it tells the story where it needs to tell, and that's why I put it in that exceptional category.
Thank you, Dennis. We are getting some echoes from you, but while you sort that out, Carl, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I was at 80, and I so want to enjoy this more than I did because I think it is very nice. I love the palette that the maker presented us with, the background, the presentation. Each part of the clothing worked well with it as well. The lighting, I do think is somewhat powerful. However, it just seems muted in a way, and it seems to lack a little bit of pop in the exposure of that lighting. And then it's confusing how the highlight side of his face, our left side, the eye goes completely dead, yet we're seeing catch lights from below and above on the right side in the shadow area. It just doesn't seem to fit right with everything else that's going on.
Sherry, let's hear from you.
I score this in the merit category as well. And while I enjoy this, this gentleman in his character study and the lines in his face and in his hands are so storytelling for this man. But one of the things that held me back, I realized this kind of has a mossy green feel, but I'm also getting the green in his skin tone, which is just holding me back a little bit. But I really do enjoy this character study of this gentleman.
Thank you. And Dennis, back to you for rebuttal.
Well, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can, yes.
Yep.
Okay. I think that the tonality was something that the maker did to carry the feel of the shirts, clothes, and everything go through, and made the reflection there. But I think the lighting has been put there, and they on purpose the way our left side, his eye is closed down a little bit more, and we don't know, maybe from a stroke or we don't know why, but there's no light that's going in there. But I think the softness, the muteness of it, the tonalities of it is symbolic of maybe softness of old age, the softness of life. He's, all blending on there. Taking into account what the makers, what the other judges are saying, I'm going to go to a 90, go down to a 90, but boy, I still just love this image.
Good judges, if you would be so kind as to refresh your browser and rescore, please, with the challenge. Final score is 87 points. Good challenge. Thank you very much. Okay, so remaining with the portrait category, the next image is Iron and Lace. Iron and Lace. Image scores 79 points. Sherry, talk to us about this image, please.
I scored this as 79 in the above average category. And I do love the graphic nature of this, in that cold steel gray against that red is a very nice color contrast. There's a few things that held me back. I'm seeing different skin tones. I'm seeing a hard line in her calf that's raised that should not be there, and a super dark knee, some retouching things. And then we've got the hand that's on her leg. We're seeing the flat back of her hand, which is not flattering for her. And also the skin tone in her fingers have gone gray. So just some technical things were holding me back.
Thank you very much. Next image, still in the portrait category, Mark. Mark. Image score 78 points. Dennis, this one's yours.
I give this a 79. And at first I jumped on this, I wanted to go higher, and then I started looking at it and it's very muted, the tonalities, the lighting on it. But then as I look at it, I'm seeing banding around the head, and on our camera right, there's a dark line that goes all the way down the top to the bottom of the image. And then we got some little lines on the left side of this image as well. We got some technical challenges there, but the subject is great. The colorization of everything's nice, but it just couldn't push it to the merit for that.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next image, still in the portrait category, is the guitarist. The guitarist. Image score 75 points. Carl, this one's yours.
Yeah, it's at 75. And I think that the maker did a nice job of finding a background and having it coordinate with this person. But there's some technical things. One, the lighting is on his face is all right, but the way it falls off onto his hands causes them to have a color shift and not quite match the same skin tones as that we're seeing on his face. I'm seeing wrinkles in the background, especially in the top left corner. And again, banding in a circular fashion this time, coming out from the center behind his head and then radiating out. Also be careful, maybe turn him to the side a little bit or a little bit of an angle with his knees facing right straight back at us. It's just kind of an uncomfortable situation as far as the pose is concerned.
Thank you, Carl. Next image in the portrait category, Big Dreams. Big Dreams. Image score 76 points. Sherry, talk to us about this image.
Score this is 79, and while I love the shape of the dancer, there's just a couple of little things that's holding me back. She's very harshly lit, and it does not appear to be very flattering for her. She's got her hand on the edge of this chaise, and it's kind of gripping it like it's a claw. And then a couple of those, that really patterned background is super busy and distraction for me that keeps pulling me away from her as well. So that's where I'm at 79.
Thank you, Sherry. And then the final image in the portrait category is Hindsight. Hindsight. Image scores 78. Dennis, if you would talk to that, please.
I'll challenge.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm at 81 in this image, and I enjoy the design element and the story of this person looking off to the side. I like that her face is going into shadow, creating some mystery. I like her hair being lit to show texture and show all the curls that she has here, telling her story. The pose of her hand coming up back over her shoulder gives us a nice little base and foundation, yet has some motion to it with the clothing coming off her shoulder and then following on her sleeve on her right arm. So some really nice things going on to get it right into the merit category.
And Sherry, your response to the challenge?
I score this is 77, and while She looks very beautiful, very regal. A couple of things that held me back. For me, her face is just kind of blending in to that hair that's on Vera's right side behind her face. And then also for the hand that we're showing, the flat back of the hand, and with the fingers curved around the shoulder, they look cut off. So that's what was holding me back.
And Dennis?
And I believe I was a 78 on this, and echoing what Sherry said, I know it's got the possibilities of there, but then in addition to that, all those things at the very bottom where the coloration's coming up where there's been burned down, some tonalities into the dress, got those different colorations there. And then the hair is actually the brightest part of the whole piece. And so I was just wanted to look in that beautiful face. So that's why I was not in the merit category.
Yeah, in rebuttal, I guess I'm looking at the mystery of her expression, the mystery of her face, and enjoy it being in the shadow and enjoy it kind of fading into her hair. But I do agree that the back of the hand could have been handled a little bit differently. And I do wish, and I hope the maker's listening, that the hair wasn't so bright on this side. Because I think this has potential, but needs to have some adjustments made. So I will change my score to 79.
Okay, judges, if you would refresh and rescore, please, with the challenge.
And just FYI, weather update, we have a pretty big cell that's bearing right down on us. So hopefully maybe it'll fizzle out before it gets here.
Thank you, appreciate it. We actually only have a few more images left, so we're getting pretty close.
Okay.
And final score is 78 points. Thank you very much. That wraps up the portrait category. We have 4 images for review. The first of which is Young Wisdom. Original score 78.
I can't get back to my screen to score that.
You try
up or down.
Go to the Zoom.
Okay, I'm there. Okay, Sherry.
Yeah.
I did. I had to go back and refresh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get mine?
We did not, but image remains the same anyway, so we're good. Thank you very much. Next image for review is Iron and Lace, original score 79. Image remains the same. And then the third image for review is Mark, original score 78. Image remains the same. And then the final score for review, image for review is Hindsight, original score 78. Image remains the same. Okay, the next category is the seniors category.
It's in high school or old people?
As in high school.
Old high school people.
I would hope that the images would speak for themselves, but it's a fair question.
Just making sure.
No, it's not an unreasonable question. First image in the seniors category is Colony Grad. Colony Grad. Image scores 76 points. Dennis, talk to us about this image.
It's a really nice image. I'm sure the senior parents liked it. I feel sorry for this class of 2020 with all the stuff going on, but a couple of things that I was distracting for me was the lack of presentation, and that her right arm that just comes out of nowhere out of her hip. And I understand the clothing and things they have these days, but the clothing consultation just didn't work for me. And then that lamp that just, they could have changed the angles or just a little bit more, but that lamp is coming around the top of her head. So that's where I landed.
Thank you, Dennis. And next, in fact, the final image in the seniors category is volleyball valor. Volleyball valor. Image scores 78 points. Carl, talk to us about this image, please.
Yeah, I think I enjoy this image. I was at 79, I guess, and I like the tilt to it. I think it helps give us a little bit of action and motion to it in this situation. I think the pose is handled very well, again, for volleyball, for the sport. My issue was the lighting, the technical part of the lighting. It just seems a little bit overexposed, and I wish that we would have just had a little bit less light on her face, because it just seemed to power it just a little bit.
Thank you, Carl. We have one image in the senior category for review, and that's this image, volleyball valor. Image remains the same. Okay, the next category is the wedding category. These are images that are shot on the day of a wedding or other major event. First image in the wedding category is the arrival. The arrival. Image scores 77 points. Sherry, this one's yours.
I score this in the above average category. And while it has a cute kind of a storybook feel about it, for me, the processing created a few challenges. It's just a little bit over processed and a little bit crunchy, especially in the groom's suit. And then around all the palm trees, we've got a dark glow around those. So those are the challenges that kept me back.
Thank you, Sherry. And then the final image in the wedding category is a memorable moment. A memorable moment. Image scores 83 points. Dennis.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I was an 85 on this, and one of the jobs as the wedding photographer is to utilize the areas where we're at for the day, and I think the maker did a nice job. They found a beautiful area they could create some compositional images. They've showed the couple there, the couple of things there that they're shooting a wider angle in, so the columns aren't straight. But one little thing that they could have done some highlights right above the bride's head on the floor that could have been taken out, and over on the camera left there, some on the floor, some fine housekeeping they could have done on these images. I think it's a nice post, nice look, and I had an 85 on it.
Thank you, Dennis. And our final category for the evening is the workshop category. Now, the workshop category is for images that were shot in a workshop or under the direct instruction of an instructor or other professional. Please score the images as you would for any other image. They're not eligible for the year-end awards, but otherwise they are treated exactly the same. First image in this category is bride. Bride. Image score 77. Carl, if you would take this one, please.
Yeah, I enjoy the hand pose of this image. I think that was very elegantly handled as far as the little touch of the veil and how it flows around and everything. But the background, it just doesn't seem to fit the textures that are going on in the dress. The feet pointing straight at us just kind of foreshortens and doesn't give us as much of a impact or as much flattering pose to this person. But like I said, the hand pose I think is really nice. The other things are lacking a little bit.
Thank you, Carl. There are no images. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. There's one more image. And in fact, this is the final image for the evening. Surfs Up. Surfs Up. Image scores 80 points. Sherry, if you would be so kind as to close us out with this one.
I scored this in the above average category, and while I enjoy the composition and the movement and the action, very cool action shot, there's a few things that held me back. There's some super blown out speculars on her shoulder, and yeah, that's from water, and I realize that that's natural, but that can be toned down so that it's not such of a distraction. And also we've got a really hard shadow on her arm that's away from the camera on her left side. Things like that can be retouched to minimize the harshness of things like that, but that's where I am at 79.
Thank you, Sherry. And that brings the judging portion of our image competition to an end. I want to thank our three amazing judges, Dennis and Sherry Hammond and Carl Kaler, for some of the best judging we've seen in a very long time. Truly, we're honored to have you with us, and we hope this has been fun for you. At this point, I'm going to switch off streaming. IEPPV, thank you for watching. We will be announcing the results from the competition shortly. I hope you've enjoyed this. And judges, please stay on so that we can then go through and look at the rest. How do I switch off? Okay. There may be a short pause while I figure out how to stop streaming since I didn't start it.
Oh, we got to start all over again?
No.
I call it do-over.
I promise I won't do that to you.
Interference.
10 yards.
That's right.
That's how to view it. I don't know how to stop it.
Let him hear.
This is an intro. I've never seen this one before. Stop participant sharing. No, that won't do it. Turn on version. No. Okay. How do we do? There's got to be a way to do this somewhere. There will be a short. Oh no! Wait a second. It's because I'm
unplug.
Exactly.
I just remembered where I'm looking on the wrong.